What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great weekend. I know I am. It's a quiet house. Like I said in my last video, my family is gone for a couple weeks, and while I miss them immensely, I'm thoroughly enjoying alone time. It's been 18 years, and that's a long time to wait. That being said, I just wanted to jump into this video real quick. This is going to be kind of a quick video, and I feel really bad because I really tried and put forth some effort to try and familiarize myself with this text editor that this gentleman wanted me to try out and give my opinion on. But I just couldn't get my head wrapped around it. And that being said, I don't want this to just be a cop-out video, but I wanted to give you a little bit of information on this text editor because, you know, maybe it's something that you can use and that'll work for you. It didn't work for me, so I can't give it a fair actual user's review, but I just wanted to get some light on it and get it out there and let people know it's out there because it is a really cool idea and a really cool concept, and I think the potential for it for somebody who's maybe just trying to familiarize themselves with any text editor as opposed to somebody who's already comfortable in a text editor, this might be good for you. So that being said, I just wanted to get this video out on Cacoon. Let's go ahead and open up Qt Browser here. We are going to go to their website, which is Kakoune, Cacoon.org, and it's got some good documentation. I won't say great documentation because, well, it's a little iffy, but It explains everything. You just got to dig a little bit for some things, and some things you just kind of got to figure out on your own. Most of their information is going to come from their GitHub page, so we'll go over that in a second. But I wanted to cover a couple things really quick on their actual website. And this is their website, again, Kakoune.org. You're going to come to this home page, which is pretty cool. It gives you the features, you know, multiple selections, customization, text editing tools, client-server architecture, advanced text manipulation, and active development and support. Gives you a screenshot down here, kind of what's going on, a few different screenshots as to what things look like in i3 and in tmux. And then it's got this little tab right here that says learn more about the Cacoon philosophy. And this is kind of what I want to highlight because this is kind of what really makes this stand out to me. To whereas if I was just starting to learn a text editor and I found out about Cacoon, I actually might take the time to learn this over spending the time to learn Vim. But instead, I wasn't aware of this at the time. I'm working on Vim, and I've already gotten myself to a point to where I'm comfortable in it, and I don't want to mess that up. And I only say that because I'm comfortable in Vim, but I'm not an expert by any means, and I'm still learning it. And I want to continue to learn it. And if I start to try and figure out Cacoon, that's kind of why I stopped with my actual usage of it, because started to kind of tinker with my Vim knowledge, and since things are similar but not the same, it was causing me issues. That being said, though, let's go ahead and look at the philosophy here, because I think he makes some really valid points here. First thing I want to cover is this main heading here, this why invest time into text editing, and this is a great question as it's posed to him, and he puts forth a great answer. The gentleman who created this text editor does a good job here explaining his reasons behind doing what he did. In doing so, he answers a very valid question that I've heard numerous times before. Maybe worded a little differently, or maybe not quite that sentence or that thought, but you can see how it ties in. That being said, the question is, while discussing with fellow developers, I was asked the following question a few times. The question was, we spend most of our time as developers thinking, not editing code. So why invest time into mastering a complicated code editor, and why lose some cognitive resources on thinking about text editing instead of about the real programming problem? Now I'm going to stop right there for a second, because I am going to take this sentence here and this question about text editing, and I'm going to apply it to me personally as an automotive technician. And you might not care one bit about this, and so I apologize, but this really kind of resonated with me, because a lot of people feel that, you know, taking time and like being a mechanic or being is just fixing cars. All I do is I get my hands on a car and I swap parts out and I fix something and I'm done. Same way people seem to think that being a programmer is basically just sitting down at a computer and typing out some code. I am not a programmer by any means, in any stretch of the word, but I do understand how programming works. I know a little bit of it. I know enough to get myself in trouble doing it, but I do know, even in my limited knowledge of it, that that is not the majority of what you do. Just like in my job as an automotive technician, fixing cars is not the majority of what I do. 25 years as an automotive technician, 2/3 of my day and 2/3 of my job is spent thinking and problem solving and not even laying a hand on a car. Customer comes into me with a concern. I go by the 3 C's in my job, and I actually try to apply these to every single portion of my life. That comes down to this. There's 3 C's when you're trying to solve a problem, whether it be at work as an automotive technician for me, when I'm writing a script on the computer here, when I'm solving a problem for one of my kids, I always try to go by the 3 C's. And the first C is when the customer comes in, there is a concern. And the first part of my job is figuring out exactly what that concern is. People can't always voice what it is exactly that they are having an issue with. They don't know wordage. They don't know quite how to describe it. They don't know. So I have to think about and get my head wrapped around what they're trying to describe to me. That's thinking. I got to spend my time thinking about the concern. Then, once I have the concern figured out, it's time to sit down and figure out what is the cause. Now, again, 9 times out of 10, this has nothing to do with even touching the car. I might hook up the computer to it and start looking at and reading data, but other than that, a lot of it has to be me figuring out and understanding how the system works and how it's supposed to work, me figuring out if this is a normal condition or a non-normal condition and the customer's just not aware of it, me figuring out and thinking about what could be the underlying effects of maybe a system that's not even involved with that one. So again, I have a concern that the customer is concerned about that I've had to think about, and now I have to figure out a cause by spending time thinking and troubleshooting. Then finally comes the correction, which in the end is finally me putting my hands on the car and replacing a part or repairing a part or doing something along those lines. So 1/3 of my job basically is spent actually physically repairing a car, while 2/3 is spent troubleshooting, problem solving, and thinking about it. I think the same goes for a programmer. A programmer either has a problem to solve or an idea to create or something along those lines that first has to take shape in their brain. They have to think about it. They have to understand what's going on. They need to know all steps involved in what is going to happen. And at that point, then they can put pen to paper or finger to keyboard and write out this programming script. So I believe that that question is a 100% completely valid question. Now, asking why lose time and cognitive resources mastering a code editor? Well, same reason I went to school or go to classes to learn about automotive, same reason I take time to learn how special tools work and put forth the effort in learning how to do that, because taking a little bit of time in the beginning saves time and makes you better off in the long run. So, that being said, like he answered, despite their name, code editors are not only about editing, but also about code navigation. Programming is a hard task, partly due to the huge amount of context we have to keep in mind, and being able to quickly navigate code helps us refresh that context by looking at definitions, implementations, and comments. Beautifully stated. I love that. Although code editing is not in itself the most important part of programming, it still takes a non-negligible time to perform and can be optimized by using better tools. Again, couldn't have said that better myself, exactly how my job works. Finally, a programming career spans a few decades, so investing a few weeks to improve your editing and navigating speed is definitely worth it. Again, wonderfully put. I really like the way this guy words this. I like how he actually poses the question, hey, why should I use Cacoon? Why should I take the time to do this? Why should I worry about that? He makes a really great argument for his tool here. And like I said, if I wasn't already familiarizing myself with one that I'm very happy with, I would probably take my time to get to know Cacoon and get to learn it. There are a few things I do like about it. I'm going to go over real quick here. In Vim, you use kind of a, let's see here. It's got a section on it here, right here. Why Cacoon? In Vim, you use a verb followed by the object. You use kind of delete word, and that's how we speak in English. You know, delete word, delete this, delete that. It's not word delete. You know, we say delete. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to apply that action to this word. Well, that's great, in English, but when you're actually performing that on your computer and you go to, say, delete 5 words, or delete this word or change that, basically when you apply the command first and then say what you're going to apply it to, that change takes effect and it's like, oh crap, that's not what I wanted to do. Now you have to undo what you've just done and then redo it again in a different manner to get the proper outcome. So that is kind of an inefficiency in Vim. Now, is there ways around that? There might be. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert in Vim, but I am learning on things. But that just seems like that's one thing I kind of struggle with. Sometimes I'll do a command and I'll accidentally hit the wrong word or something, and so then I got to go back and undo it. Well, Cacoon has changed that because they use a object-verb. So it would be like word delete. They use an object-verb philosophy to where if you want to do something, you say what you want to do it to first. It highlights that section so you know exactly what is about to change. And then once you have verified that that's what you want to change, then you go ahead and make that change. That's a brilliant way to do it. I like that a lot. That's pretty cool. So that's kind of the big thing that I see that I like about Cacoon. Again, I didn't get into it real deep because I just couldn't wrap my head around it while I was still jumbling up key bindings with Vim, jumbling up my Vim in my head with Cacoon. It was just too difficult for me. So again, I apologize that I can't get a real concrete user review out, but that was just something that these are just two things that stuck out on me. The fact that I like the way it controls things as being object and then verb, so that you can see what's going to happen before you do it. And I like the fact that the gentleman actually really breaks down why Cacoon is a good editor and why somebody should take the time to use it. I just think that's great. And so that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the documentation. So let me go back real quick. Oh, I didn't want to go all the way back. So let's open Kakoune.org and we are going to go to documentation. So if we go to documentation, you see it just takes us to the GitHub page, which is MAWWW, or Ma, I don't know how you want to pronounce it, but it's Cacoon. And it's got some decent documentation. I wouldn't call it great by any means. You've got your source right here. Down here you have a nice little table of contents that gives you the introduction, features, gives you some screenshots, how to build, install, and run it. Basically you can, if we go up here to build, it'll show you how to build it from what dependencies you need before you build it. It shows you how to install it from different repositories, Mac ports, Fedora, Rel, Arch, Gentoo, Exerbo. I'm not quite sure what that is. That's kind of interesting. I'm going to have to look at that, because if somebody knows what that is, please leave me a message in the comment, because I would like to know what that is. OpenSUSE, Ubuntu, Debian, FreeBSD, OpenBSD, Solus, Void, Termux, Nix. It's on quite a bit of the distributions out there, so you can get it installed pretty easy on your system. And basically, when you run it, instead of running Cacoon in your terminal, like you run Vim, you just run Cac. You type K-A-K, and then the name of the file you want to edit. It does have a configuration file in user share cac and then cacrc. You can create one in your .config/cac directory in your home directory, but I couldn't kind of wrap my head around the configuration of it. Again, I apologize, but just not something that I was able to get figured out and worked out. You can use it just strictly as it is, by all means, just like you can use Vim without configuring it. But as far as if you want to learn how to configure it, I couldn't be much help to you there. You have basic interaction. You have selections, normal mode, and insert mode, just like in Vim. You have keys. Escape leaves insert mode, like in Vim. Backspace deletes character before the cursor. Delete deletes the characters under the cursor. Left, right, up, and down move the cursor, just like HJK and L. HJK and L are also used. Not in insert mode, obviously, though. You have home moves the cursor to the beginning of the line, end moves it to the end of the line. Control N, select next completion candidate. So if you go here, you just got a basic list of key bindings here. You have your basic movements here in 3.4. So if you scroll through this and kind of read through, you have your basic movements, you have appending, So basically, for example, capital W, capital W, capital W selects 3 consecutive words. The first W selects a word, then WW extends the selection to the next word. So let's go ahead and kind of show this off. So let's zoom in here. First, let's clear the screen, then let's zoom in, and let's do not cac test. So we're just going to make a test file here, and we're going to do this is a test run of Cacoon. Let's see how, oops, not PW, how it works. So we have a little bit of text here. So if you wanted to, let's go ahead and go back to the beginning of the line. So GG, just like in Vim, like I said, there's some similarities to Vim, there's some differences to Vim. Say I wanted to do highlight a word, so I could do Shift W, which is going to be a capital W, is going to highlight that word. Now I want to do another word. Let's hit Shift W again, Shift W again, Shift W again. That's just going to keep highlighting words. So we can see that. So if I do Shift B, that's going to unhighlight word. If I do just a W, that's going to highlight that word. What happens if I do just a W again? It's just going to move it on to the next word. If I do back, that's going to take it back a word. I want to show you something here on this though. If you look, I start off right here. If I hit W for the next word, it takes me to the space before the word, correct? Now watch what happens if I move back and I hit E. E takes me to the end of that word. E takes me to the end of that word. But if I go back, it takes me to the beginning and the beginning. But then I go forward to the beginning of the word. The beginning of the word is always going to drop you in the space before the word. So I'll go in beginning, it's going to take me, it's going to highlight the word behind, but it is taking you to the next word until you get to the end of the sentence there. So we do back, 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 back. So again, just like Vim, W, forward a word, B, back a word, E to the end of the word, back to the word, and then if you do F, right there, select unto next character, enter character to select to. So if I wanted to do to the next T, I would press F, and then T is going to take me and it's going to highlight out to that next T. So let's escape, let's go back and say I wanted to do K. So I do F, and then I do K. That's going to highlight out to that next K right there. So some similarities to Vim, like I said, but here's some differences. Say I wanted to delete this line. In Vim, you would do a simple DD. Well, that in here, DD, oh, that just deletes the character underneath the cursor. So we can do undo, and that doesn't undo everything, it just undoes things one step at a time. If I want to delete that whole line, I have to press X, it's going to highlight that line, and then I can press D, and then it will delete that whole line. Again, X, and then D. So let's go ahead and undo that by hitting the U, just like in Vim. So, that being said, now, remember how if you wanted to delete 5 words in Vim, you would do 5DW. So if we do 5D, oh shoot, that just deleted that word. So what's going on here? Now let's remember, it's going to be object and then verb in Cacoon. So if we do 5 and then W and then D, oops, excuse me. Let's undo that. I forget on this. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's a little bit confusing. So you got to do 5 capital W, so now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words, and then if I hit D, it does that. So there are some similarities and there are some differences. So if we undo that, then we can see that. So again, this editor, I wish I could show more on this, but I really just wanted to, for this gentleman's sake, to actually get this word out here to people and let you know that there is another text editor out there that is quite decent. As far as I can see, it would be very, very easy to use if I wasn't already trying to learn Vim. But since I'm already learning Vim, I'm getting things jumbled up in my brain and it's not working for me. And I don't want to, since I am still fairly new to Vim, I don't want to unlearn what I've already learned because I enjoy Vim and I don't want to change learning that. But that being said, this is a great text editor. It seems to be. And I think it would be a very good option for somebody out there who's wanting to learn a text editor that's got a little bit more feature-rich environment than something like Notepad++ or Nano or something along those lines. Which Nano's probably got a lot to it too. I haven't used that very often, but who knows. That being said, again, it's Cacoon. I definitely recommend at least checking it out. Maybe you'll find it useful. I didn't. I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. So if you requested this video, I apologize. I know this isn't a very good video. I couldn't quite do what I wanted to do with it, but I wanted you to know that I did take a look at it. I do think it is a great project for somebody. It's just not for me. That being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. God bless.